everybody. Hello. It's me joining.
Evening. Tonight, we're doing The Idea of You. Returning to some regular reviews with Amazon Prime original film, which, we've had... I don't know. They're not my favorite movies of the streaming service. On Prime, I watch the really crappy documentaries that are so bad. You're like, wow, I can't believe they're like paying someone to put this on it. Like, I would rather watch YouTube.
That we're probably not going to review.
Yeah, exactly. But no, we've done like the Uncle Franks of the world. We did the Red, White, and Royal Blue, and what was that one with the wrestler, Cassandra? Ooh, I still have the song from that soundtrack.
Oh yeah,
I like that.
And that was different. So yeah. Sometimes they do some different stuff.
Yeah, I would say mostly bad, though, for me.
And that enters us into this film.
The idea of you. A 40-year-old single mom begins an unexpected romance with a 24-year-old boy band singer. This has an 83% on Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah, tomatoes. I don't know how I said that.
What?
Tomatoes. I don't know why I said it like that.
Tomatoes.
That's like my
Rotten
critic voice.
Tomatoes.
40% in the city. Jesus Christ, my voice.
No one's gonna listen to that shit, Brennan.
It's rambling. 83% on Rotten Tomatoes with the critics,
Yes.
68% with the audience. I don't know if you noticed recently. Sometimes they show on Google, like when you Google something, they'll show the Rotten Tomatoes score, but they'll only show the critics. And right now they're showing the critics, but for like a week or two there, they were showing the audience score when you Googled something as the score.
I wonder what makes the change.
I don't know what the choice. Like right now, if I'm looking at it, it's currently the critical score. But a couple weeks, maybe it was. Can't remember if it was last week or just recently. It was the other way around, which I had never seen before. Usually, they always show the critical score. But I don't know if you noticed that.
It sounds like they're trying to steer us in a direction
Towards the people over the critics. I wonder why. I don't know who's behind Big Tomato.
Big Google. I don't know.
Big Tomato. Anne Hathaway is our star here, and she is opposite of Nicholas Galitzine. You know this gentleman. This
we know him from Red, White, and Royal Blue.
That is right. I was watching this, and I was like, that guy. Seen him.
And I know him
before.
from something else too. What was the other thing he was in?
Was it another Amazon Prime movie? I was thinking.
I'm not sure.
As soon as Nicole,
I think he played another gay character actually, but I can't think of what the movie was.
As soon as Nicole pointed out it was him, I was like, "Oh, does he have like a contract with Prime, like a Hallmark guy? Like, is he like all right? You're gonna do your 5 Prime rom-coms, and you're gonna get."
Yes.
He gets to star opposite all kinds of people. He's fun.
It's like the old Hollywood, contracts that you used to have. You'd have to do,
Yeah, what's old is new again.
Brothers, That's right. Because people want work.
The streaming, it gets streaming, then it conglomerates or it consolidates, then it goes back out. It's very fun. We get to just watch what art we're watching. Speaking of the art, if you haven't seen The Idea of You, Prime obviously is where you see it. As you haven't made that obvious, it's streaming there. And yeah, we're going to go into spoilers now. So, this is a pretty standard, meet cute rom-com, but it's like the ones, the romance novel kinds, the Nicholas Sparks kind of thing, but for the middle-aged mom, I suppose. It's Soleil Marchand is a divorced gallery owner living in Los Angeles. And she is coming up on her 40th birthday, and her meet cute is with what's his name? August Moon. Oh my god! No, August Moon is the band.
August Moon is the band. His name is hard to remember too.
His name is August Moon. That's right. Hayes Campbell, which is
Hayes. Yeah,
August Moon's a way better name. They should have called him August Moon and called the band something else because it doesn't really
Hayes
matter.
Campbell.
Honestly, yeah, I don't know. Hayes Campbell is that should have been the other guy's name, the annoying band member. Whatever. She meets Hayes Campbell, who is a 24-year-old guy. He is in this boy band that her daughter is a fan of. And she meets her. They meet because the husband couldn't take her. Whatever. That comes into play later, but we can get to the minutia of that later. That doesn't matter. Right now, they meet cute. He changes the set list to sing her a song specifically to her. And I'm watching this and I'm like, Wow,
Is he
this
though?
is crazy, crazy choice here. To be making movies like this still in this day and age. And so he shows up to her art gallery, buys all her art, and she's like, "What are you doing? This is, like, this artist worked hard on this. Like, you can't just come in here and take my..." And like, no,
Take it like it's nothing.
Yeah, like, no, it really speaks to me. Like, oh, really? Oh, okay. So it becomes wistful fantasy, swept away romance, and then of course you gotta have what's gonna happen. There's gonna be problems. She's a 40-year-old woman, she's a 24-year-old guy. There's problems, so we gotta do the problems. So Mama K, what'd you think of the idea of you?
So the idea of you're saying it like it's the same movie that they've done over and over again. The point they're trying to make here is that it's a 40-year-old woman and a 24-year-old guy. We typically see the opposite of this with, older men going for younger women. So this is the hot take here, right? This is what they're trying to sell us, that this is a hot take on that sort of thing.
And you are traditionally, for the listeners, you are a very anti-age gap traditionally, historically, is like, I would say. I don't know. You tend to not like it.
I am anti-age gap. I mean, the older you get, the less important it is, but when you're talking about somebody who's still forming as a person and somebody who's not, it also depends. For me it's more of a power situation. Usually it's the man that's older and has either has the great job or has more power, and then it's a younger woman, and that's the piece. It's less about the age gap than it is about sort of the power distinction that happens between that type of an age gap. So that's not the issue here. He's the one she's obviously not struggling because she owns an art gallery in Silver Lake, California. So that's not a struggling person. She has a really nice home. We got to call it a home. Mm-hmm. But this is straight up Harry Styles fan fiction. I'm calling it out. Harry Styles fan fiction. It's straight up Harry Styles. The dude's British. He's in a band that's got 5 guys. He's got, random tattoos on his body. I know what the
recording is going to be called that you send to me for this.
Straight up Harry Styles fan
It's going to be pretty easy to remember to figure out which file in my email is that's probably that podcast episode.
It's probably just going to be FF for fan fiction, because why would I need to go any further? Yeah. And so I find out I'm doing some, because we're getting ready to record this tonight. So I'm gonna do a little dig just to try to find a little information to talk about. And apparently, I am not the only person who thinks that this is straight up Harry Styles fan fiction. The author of the book, when the book first came out, said this is not Harry Styles fan fiction.
Was that her opening line when she was interviewed for the book? So, tell us about your book. Well, it's not Harry Styles. Doth protest too much, kind of thing.
not opening line, but the very short article that I read that might have been 5 paragraphs or so spent at least a good paragraph on the fact that this is not Harry Styles fan fiction.
It's just strange to have to call it out so much in your debut. You let people come to that conclusion, and then if you need to address it, you can. But I don't know.
Right.
Don't protest too much. Anyway.
Right. So, and that's fine, but that's, and what it does is it gives, it gives fan fiction writers all over the world, this is their dream movie, because it doesn't matter whether it's good or who it's really about. But if you're writing fan fiction about something, this hits all the marks for being excellent. The only thing that would be better is if the heroine, the female protagonist, was slightly overweight, and that was part of what we talk about too. That would be the only thing that
you have to have the Amy Mamulo character as like a surrogate, regular-looking person as the friend. Because they have to be like, oh yeah, that's what a regular 40-year-old woman it looks like.
Right. But in fan fiction, you get more kudos if you've got somebody who's, not going to be. Anne Hathaway is beautiful, right? Mm-hmm. So the only way that this kind of pushes out a fan fiction a little bit is because of that piece, not traditionally beautiful person, but definitely you got somebody who's an older woman, has this really strange thing happen. So she winds up in a meet and greet at at Coachella of all places. I mean, this just hits every mark solid.
The first half hour, like I will say, like I didn't hate this. I kind of was hating it in the first half, but not like an aggressive hate, more like a, oh man, this is 2 hours, really? This? Like this is 2 hours. Like we're gonna do this is absurd. Like this is, come on now. And then, but later on, there was parts where I'm like, all right, I'm kind of winning over a bit. But for the first bit is like, ooh, it's like there's just nothing. It's like they just found the script of anything on the pile, and they just like they brushed it, they like dusted it with their hand 3 times, and they're like, all right, done, and they're just like, go. And later on they do a little bit more, but like at the beginning it just feels very, very, very like obvious everything.
They do a little more, but then when they go to do a little more, I think that they miss the mark a little bit, because
I like it more later. I've come back around. In like their first scene, where is it? Which the pool scene, and then she's like feeling insecure, and then leaves, and he's like, "No, like you're not like that other." And who says that I didn't love that other 33-year-old woman? That whatever, like, and I'm just right. and like that was the first thing I was like, oh, look at that. They brought in a couple of pros to turn this foul ball into a what is it, ground rule double or whatever. They just. I was like that scene. I was like, oh, look at them. This is like pretty good.
Not a sloppy single. I mean,
no. I was watching that scene. I was like, this doesn't feel like crap. Like I'm not like this is a good. Look at these 2 actors are good, and like the set dialogue's fine. But I was really before that like almost so detached, just like I can't even like pretend like I'm in this movie at all. And then then I was like, oh, look at that. That's really good. I was like enjoying it. Just more for sport than actually like connecting to anything.
Yeah, the piece that bothers me is after that. It's where, so you think that that's like the problem, right? You think that it's going to be.
No, I'm glad they resolve it the way they do, though.
Well, but you mean resolve it?
Well, that you realize that he's not just like his friend's an asshole. He's not an asshole, and that was just like one little thing. Like he was never
going to be an asshole. Let's be honest. That wasn't.
I like that
happen.
she ran away because like it, like the filmmaking tells you she felt insecure, and then she goes back, is the bigger person, and apologizes and makes the move, and then he reciprocates, and then that's like what you're supposed to do, and like that's why I liked, and because those are 2 of the better acted scenes, and before this, I just wasn't buying anything. Before it was too. Bleh. It was too. I'm gonna change the set list and change it for you, and I want every painting. They inspire me. Like I just don't believe that, you know. Like that in that part of the movie, I'm like, oh, is he gonna be an asshole? Because like this doesn't read as real. Those are the first scenes where I'm like, oh, he's not an asshole. He really is a good guy, and like she rise to the test, and then we get the actual test later of. The paparazzi or whatever, but like I'm glad the 2 leads were able to trick me into their shtick by the point they had to. I guess I didn't care for the first 45 minutes though.
So you weren't buying it. I was buying it the whole way because I you know.
Oh, okay, you were more bought.
I recognize. Yeah, I mean
good for your enjoyment. I don't know if it's good, but
I mean, I write a little bit, I read a lot, and I was like, this is. I know exactly where this movie's going. And when it felt like it was giving up, it felt like she was giving up, 2/3 of the way into it. I'm like, this isn't going to be the only hurdle. And I know what the other hurdle's going to be. And it's going to be, it's going to make me mad because this is something they all should have thought of before. The whole, the way that social media just literally tears apart women constantly for being with, especially you're talking the boy band situation. I mean, oh my God, just awful.
I was thinking about the way they resolve the conflict, like the way they choose to end the movie, because they.
Oh yeah, well let's not get there yet, though.
Okay, yeah, continue your build, because I was like, I just saw this, so I'm still trying to decide if I think I know what I believe, but I got to think about it. I had to really think about it.
Yeah, just the consideration that this is going to be, no matter how many hats you put on, how many pairs of sunglasses, you're going to get chased around by somebody who wants the pick. Also, I mean, knowing a little too much about how Hollywood works, paparazzi don't just show up. Somebody calls them. So, like, it's not, you might get the rogue picture of somebody getting on an airplane or somebody having dinner at, you know, a restaurant or whatever, but you're not going to get the manic stuff that's happening. And with paparazzi, fans, absolutely, fans are going to be they're feral, you know. Especially when you're going after somebody like that. It's like it's just the crazy amount of things that people do in fandoms these days because they can hide behind a keyboard is just awful. I'm pretty sure that there are probably relationships where people regret, just like this, regret getting into it just because of how not only does your life change, it changes everybody's life who is around you.
Yeah, and if this were a more sophisticated movie, that would be an interesting thing to talk. Like that is I haven't seen that movie yet, where they do a really like A24 style gritty look at like what's it actually like to be a significant other of one of these people, and
that's not what this is.
No, this is a fluffy fantasy, and that's fine. And that's
it gives you a little. It dips your toe in the water a little.
It gives you enough, but also like I don't. She can be she's a healed enough she's a secure enough person where she can take this on, and she only doesn't do it because her daughter is her daughter and she cannot take the heat. So that was the part I was chewing on, like, oh, this is a good, and I was like, oh, all right, movie, like I did not care about you at all, and like by the end I'm like, oh, you know, I'm chewing on what you gave me, and that's all I could really ask for, is something to chew on, so that's nice.
But everything is very, you know, everything's very just like you imagine it's going to be. The husband is not, you know, he's obviously the reason that they got divorced. He, you know, cheated on her. I did like the little nuance of the fact that the new wife is like toward the end. Okay, well,
Can we hang out now?
Do you want to go get Thai food sometime? And Anne Hathaway's delivery of her no is perfect, because she's like, do you just want to go get Thai food? No. Like absolutely not. We're not going to get Thai food.
I know you're not. I know you couldn't feel bad for her, but like if you're Anne Hathaway, of course you can. We're the audience, but like I felt bad for the poor woman. I don't know. I did.
Felt bad for who? The second wife?
Yeah, the second wife. Yeah, I did. She just wanted to connect. Yeah, like what else are you supposed to do?
Oh yeah, no, I didn't feel bad for her because she just doesn't know how to know how to be not liked. So
she just wanted to connect.
You know, she's a pick-me girl. I'm not interested. So, so other than that, I mean, I loved the home that she lived in. I loved that. I loved going off to all the fun places that they went to. I loved the styling of everything. It's just so out of, not only, it's 99.9999999% never going to happen just because of everything all put together. You know what I mean? It's just like a big...
No, this is not
big fantasy.
No, it doesn't make even if it could happen, like there's only like three boy bands that ever famous at a time. So like it could only happen to like one or two people. So it like truly
think about who else it could be though. It could be any sort of, it could be a sports celebrity. It could be somebody who's in like, you know, think about the like people who go and do like Comic-Cons and stuff like that. There's, you know, they'll sell out in minutes of, you know, putting up that they're going to be at a Comic-Con. And sports figures, they're just, you know, hassled on the regular. So like anybody that's in any position, you can put the boy band on the back burner, and it could be anybody. They could be, you know, they could be at a basketball game and they're going, you know, they're going to be able to do a little meet the team before or whatever, you know, it's all.
I think there's got to be people who
kind of thing.
I think there's got to be like, but famous. The reason why it's different for the boy band guy is because the boy band guy is so famous he can't go anywhere. There's only a few people who are that famous. Like you could be, you know, most NBA stars. Like if you're a significant other of them, like you're probably gonna be okay day to day. Like you're not gonna get attacked going around. She's screwed. Like she can't. People know who she is. Where like if you're a wife of a pretty good rock star or a pretty good this is the like one of the guys. This is a top 20 icon of the time kind of guy. So that's why That's why it's
Yeah.
particularly fanatical. Where it's like it would be different. Like you wouldn't have this ending if he were just like a regular famous rich guy. It would be you would have to do something different. Like this is because he's
Right.
like Prince level, like Red, White, and
Right.
Blue.
Right. It does have to be somebody like that. That's why it's Harry Styles fan fiction. I mean,
That's why it's Harry.
I couldn't think. Yeah, I couldn't think.
And
of
is that
another...
part of? So from the women's appeal perspective, is that part of the appeal? Is because he's the best? It's not just that he's a pretty good musician; it's that he's the number one in the world. Like they don't ever talk about Anne Hathaway's appeal, like to hit like him. What's like his just because he's like the best ever. Like this is just like the stereotypical the best in women's eyes kind of thing.
You mean for Anne Hathaway's character, or for the woman watching the movie?
I'm kind of asking for both. Like she's like so like is he just like that's just a generic what a generic woman wants kind of guy, right? Like that's what we're doing. Is there something about him that
hard.
What does Anne Hathaway like about him so much? Like
well,
he's just
that's the first thing that you have to believe.
He's just like a like yeah. I was thinking back like how much. Like what does she like about him? Just that
I'm not sure about that because the thing is that I mean, they're the way they bump into each other is she mistakenly mistakes his trailer for a porta toilet, which I'm like, okay. I know they have bougie porta toilets, but this is epitome of that. You know, it has a refrigerator, so she, you know, and so he thinks it's funny that she's perfectly fine with going into his trailer. She doesn't realize who he is, although, you know, her daughter has been a fan for a long time. It's kind of, I don't know. I would think that maybe she would know, but I don't know. Is the appeal for her the fact that he is like ungettable and she gets him? You know, is that it?
I'm asking you. You're the woman. I don't like. Why is
I know, but I don't know.
why would
I'm
a
trying to
woman
figure
like
out-
this? Like I
mean, because I think it would be sure as a fling or a one night stand or whatever. That seems appealing, just because it's like something different, and you're being picked out by somebody who is wanted by, you know, thousands of women, girls, basically. And we have to realize that this is what's happening. She's the only woman there. Everybody else are girls.
If it's just a temporary fantasy, wouldn't it have been more satisfying that like later on, like they've both moved on, but then he says like, oh, but I'll never. Isn't it better that he like says I'll never forget you, but he stays not with her? Like if that's the actual goal, because like if you actually marry him when he's 29 or whatever, then it's just your husband. It's just a guy.
Well,
like,
but the end of the movie leaves it a little. I mean, I feel like I know what happens, but
of course we know what happens.
They leave it open ended. The book apparently ended differently. So
bookend.
The book did not have this 5-year waiting period or whatever.
So they just did it immediately.
Yeah. Let's see. How did they say it ended?
Because
they must have gotten together right after he came back. I don't know. I'm confused. But there wasn't.
I don't want to give off wrong
thing.
information here.
There wasn't a 5 years later thing going on. It ended before that. So maybe it ended more ambiguous than the movie. Maybe it ended
I'm
like
saying something that says the film's take may diverge more from the novel. I don't know. Maybe there's some divergences here. The screenplay does not.
I'm sure there is.
Diverts from the book's somber climax. Oh, did they not?
I guess they didn't get to.
They don't stay together. Oh,
yeah.
Well, that actually, honestly, that makes more sense though. If you're writing, that makes not to like.
Yeah, but nobody wants that in this movie. That's not what this movie is.
No, but
people that are watching this movie are not gonna.
The thing is, like, it's okay. It's okay for them to have an age gap, and it's okay. But I need to know why. I need to know why.
Why is she attracted? I mean, he obviously.
He's at least given me reasons for her. Like, there's a couple
he likes
of
older
reasons.
Women.
Yeah. He said he liked the art. I know it was a bland scene, but he said the movie said that, and then like we at least are like given information about him to indicate that he likes things she is, but we don't know why. Is it just because he's the number one guy and he's hot and he wants her, and it doesn't matter at all what he is, but just because he's the hot number one and he wants her? Is that?
No, I think the thing that I think where it happened in the movie, that maybe this is where it happened for me, where she started to look at him as, okay, this is interesting, maybe, this is something to pursue kind of thing, is when they had that the artist that had that big painting, and then he asked about her, about what it is about this painting, and she was like, this is like everything I love everything I love, and this is what the painting makes me feel, everything. And he like glommed onto that, and she saw that in him, that he felt the same way about this painting as she did, and that was the thing, that was the hook for her, right?
Maybe I actually glazed over so hard on the scenes that they're supposed to connect that I just don't remember. Like, it was a 2-hour movie, to be fair. Like, maybe those scenes happened, and those scenes were, not that I was like scrolling my phone, like I was trying to watch it, but your mind wanders when they get boring, like, especially when it's just talking in rooms, and I like talking in rooms, but not when I like when it's about something, not just like, what's going on? Like, what's your memory of this thing? Like, what do you do? What are we talking about? Like, what are we doing?
Well, I mean, obviously, there's a lot of things that make a relationship, right? You have to have a connection, and for some reason, there's a spark, but she's not following it, but he follows up on it, and then she likes that, obviously, and then this painting sort of seals it for me, for how I think that they start to connect. And then, then they have really great sex several times in the movie, and that's pretty good. So why wouldn't you want to do that?
Which is why the ending of the original book sounds better, where it's like, oh, you live out your fantasy, and then it's a memory and a fantasy. Like, it doesn't become like, and now he's my husband. Like, we waited 5 years so my daughter wouldn't get her feelings hurt, and now he's my husband. Like, that's crazy.
No, but this is a love conquers all thing. She gave it all up because she's trying to protect her family and do the right thing as a mom, and she's getting rewarded for that. That part I don't hate. I don't hate the fact that she's getting rewarded for that.
So yeah, I guess at the end, so it's the right thing what they do is the right thing to do, I guess, is what you think.
Yeah. I mean, as a mom, it's the most selfless thing to do. Mm-hmm. So, and that's what she's all about, being selfless. She has this really great relationship with her daughter. She sees it going down the tubes because now all of a sudden she wants to spend time with her dad, which she wanted to before. So that's not, there's some inaccuracy, like, some things in here. I'm like, oh, this is a push kind of stuff. But, she does the thing that she's supposed to do. And she lets him go and says, there's a line that she says, go out and live like your big, beautiful life. And, if in 5 years we're still in a place, that's what he says, then, we'll reconnect. And then thank God she was watching the Graham Norton show.
I pointed out to Nicole specifically, I was like, I said, oh, thank God they, like, when she started flipping through the channels, I knew it was coming. And I was like, oh, thank God she wasn't, thank God it wasn't just on, like, when she, like, walked by. Like, that's, like, right. That's the worst. And then I thought about it for a second, I'm like, this is still bad, though, because she's flipping through the channels, and no one flips through the channels anymore. Like, she's a 40-year-old woman, not a 70-year-old woman. Like, you're almost 60. You don't even flip through the channals, right? Like, come on. Like, this is...
I don't really have channels to flip through anymore.
Exactly. So Anne Hathaway is not flipping through the channels. So I get where they were coming from. I'm like, oh, it's a little better than she walks by a thing and it's playing. That's crazy. But like,
she's also old school. She has a house phone.
I know. At one point she was writing in a book, and I was like, I've seen Nicole write in books. I think my mom does. And I was like, do women just... Do they write on paper? Do they like paper and pens? And like, I'm like, okay, what is that?
This is so funny you should say this, because I've been meaning to send a picture to you and Nicole, because I got a lovely Mother's Day card from Brennan and Nicole, which is a lovely thing. Brennan wrote a short little blurb about how great of a mother I am by just saying, like, Jesus, I don't remember the last time I actually wrote something. I can barely read this. My penmanship is terrible. And I was like, and then signed it best.
Yeah, that's how I sign my things. Best.
No, no, that's not how you sign something. A card to your mother. I want everybody out there who's listening to this to weigh in on
I
this.
signed. If you happen to hear this and you've ever worked with me or received an email from me, I sign everything best, Brennan.
Bruh, I am your mom, and I just bred you. I'm your mother. It's a love.
If you can bra me, then I can best you. So
no, absolutely not. This is the last time. Because I had to read it like 6 times. I'm like, what is he saying? Like, I don't even know what that word, because your penmanship
best. It's
is
like
horrible.
Best regards, but shorter. That's what I've always said. It's just
mother wants a card from their child that says best regards. Your wife has a lot of sense, and she wrote love.
I would say best to Nicole too. I don't know what you're.
Okay, well, don't do that.
I would say best to anybody. Well, you know
that is not acceptable in certain.
It is acceptable. That's how I give. That's how I give. So I'm sorry you don't receive it. Well,
I don't. So. No, I don't. I don't want kind regards.
Well, you're not getting best. Next time you might not get. That's
the same way you sign off on an email. I don't want that anyway. So that's very interesting that you should.
I'm just surprised you can read it at all.
People. It did take me a moment.
I couldn't read it. I wrote it and I couldn't read it. I couldn't read it as I was writing it.
It doesn't look that different than your dad's handwriting. So
because I don't I was literally as I was writing, I'm like, my hand hurts. I haven't written something this long.
It was like 4 sentences.
Yeah, I was like, I have not written something this long in like. Because like the only time Nicole writes stuff when we do trivia for cruises, like I don't write anything. I use my laptop for everything. Or phone,
you might want to write some. You don't write notes to yourself?
No, that's what I was saying. When I saw her writing in this movie or like reading a book, I'm like, she's touching paper. I was like, I don't like I literally don't touch paper. I don't like that's.
I dream of fabulous papers. I love ephemera.
No way, screens, baby, yes. Screens and all day.
No, chime in any listeners who. First of all, still write things, and secondly, when you write,
are you gonna write it? Or are you gonna send an email or a text or a ping? Or
why don't you give out your
You're gonna do it on a screen. You're not gonna do it on paper. So
people can write to you. You don't give your physical address out, or people would be writing you love letters.
I'm sure they. Is that why we don't have we actually don't have a female listenership? Is because they can't write in. They would prefer to write letters, but they can't.
That's quite possible.
There's nowhere to send them to. If they keep
mail it's not because women don't watch films.
Not at all. Do you recommend The Idea of You?
Yeah, I think it's fun. I don't mind the storyline. The acting is pretty good. Some of the zingers I really like. So yeah, I'm gonna recommend it.
I didn't think it was possible I was gonna recommend it when it started, but by the end I was like, that's fine. This is what they call the kids are calling a second screen movie. You hear this? You hear about this? You hear what they're saying about these things these days?
I don't know what second screens are.
A second screen movie is a movie that is specifically designed to be watched as the second screen in the room because they assume you are on your phone, your iPad, your laptop, you're otherwise doing maybe a podcast. You're doing something else, and this screen is the second one. It's the second thing you're doing. So the movies are structured to purposely like repeat dialogue and say we have to go and get the thing again, and like I can't do this, you're my best friend. Like they're purposely written to be dumber because if they were too smart they would be hard to follow, so they just it's like simplifying the dumb movie to be even dumber because they're just being honest now. I almost don't hate it. I'm almost like, you know what? They're honest about it now. Like, this is garbage. You are putting this on as background noise.
This is a lot of stuff is I just call it background movie. It doesn't have to be called second screen.
No, but like that is a common like people. I'm telling you, people making movies are now using this terminology. Like, we are purposely making this product inferior as an art form to make it easier to digest. Like, it's just
but it still has to make money. So
I understand what you're not hearing me. You're not hearing me. It's fun.
I guess not.
It's funny that they're saying that like like you would write a really good script and be like,
I got you. That they're
clever.
Doing it on purpose.
Yes. Whereas before it was people failing and like floundering and being dumb. Whereas now like
this isn't a failure because it's purposeful.
Exactly. That's why I almost don't hate it. Whereas because it's like honest. It's like, yeah, this is junk. We are making bad things, and like you should only put this on in the background and not actually look at it. I don't know if you should call it a movie, though. You should call it something else, like call it streaming content or something. That would be fine, actually. I think that's kind of what we should move towards. That's a discussion for later. 2 recommends, I guess, for the idea of you.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. Barely, though. I don't know. I guess it won me over. But
I'm not enthusiastic, but it's fun to watch.
I wouldn't say fun to watch. It's a good second screen movie. We got a theater film coming up, and hopefully some more theater movies. We're gonna be not away. We're just always away. Someone's always away. Someone's
always away.
That's why there's just like giant chunks of just random, like, because people were busy, you know. So, Films with Women in My Life on Facebook. Reach out to me on Instagram. I'm Brennan_podhost. And you can email the show filmswiththewomen@gmail.com. Questions, suggestions, all that stuff. Or you can write into us, but I don't really feel like giving my physical address, actually.
P.O. Box.
We don't got a P.O. Box. So
we can get one.
Just use your screens, because that's what everyone does anyway. So, thanks for being on for Idea of You, Mama K.
Best.
Kind words. The next time, this is Brennan signing off, saying thanks for listening and enjoy your movies.
Thanks for listening to Films with the Women in My Life. If you enjoyed being a listener in our life, please rate and subscribe on Apple Podcasts or on your favorite podcast app. Keep up with the latest from the show on Instagram at Brennan_podhost, on Facebook at Films with the Women in My Life, and on Twitter at FilmsWomenPod. Finally, you can email the show with questions and suggestions at filmswiththewomen@gmail.com. Original music for the show was created by Ian Burke and Chris Iwanek. Original artwork created by Nicole D'Alessio. This show is produced by Brennan Snyder. Thank you again for listening and enjoy your movies.